So today I'm going to show you how to make lotus root soup. I really like this soup a lot because it's not only nutritious but it's also very delicious. All you need to do is prep all the ingredients in advance and the rest of the process is really easy. The first thing you want to do is to prep some of the ingredients. Here I have 250 grams of groundnuts. These have been washed and pre-soaked for about 2 hours. So groundnuts and lotus root just go really well together. And this is actually a classic combination for this soup. Some recipes remove the skin for these peanuts because it will make the soup bitter. I'm just too lazy to do that, so I normally just blanch them and that will help in removing the bitter taste and also make the soup more clear. Another ingredient you need to prep in advance are these dried oysters. These oysters need to be pre-soaked for about 1.5 hours in hot water so that it softens slightly. Some recipes don't really use this. I like to use this because it's going to add a bit more umami flavor and a bit more sweetness to the soup. Strain off the excess water. Then place the peanuts into a pot of water. Bring the water to a boil. Drain off the water and set the peanuts aside. I'm also going to add 1 piece of dried squid. The dried squid just adds the extra umami sweetness to the soup. I'm not sure how to say this, but it just gives it that special extra flavor to the soup. But if you're not too fussy about flavor and you just want nutrients from this soup, then you don't really need to put in the dried squid. Rinse it clean, then soak it for 15 minutes until it softens. Remove any foreign objects, the eyes, this plasticky strip along the body, then cut it into slices. You can cut it into thinner slices if you prefer, or you don't even need to cut it at all. My husband complained, "Oh, why do you cut it so thick?" And I'm like, cause I don't eat it. Set it aside. For today's recipe, I'll be using pork ribs. If you don't take pork, no worries, you can actually use chicken for this recipe. The pork ribs that I'm using is not the pork ribs that I normally use for steaming. These are, well, basically I just tell my butcher that I want to use pork ribs to make soup. Some porks really do have really bad porky smell, so you want to blanch it to remove that, and at the same time the soup will be more clear. Clean the pork ribs until the water runs clear. Then place it in a pot of water to blanch it. You want to start off with room temperature water and then bring it to a boil. I find that it's more effective this way in removing the impurities. As you can see, there's quite a bit of scum floating at the top. Drain the water and set the ribs aside. Now let's prep the lotus root. Rinse it clean, then peel off the skin. Remove the ends, then cut it into chunks or slice it thinly like this. Then set it aside. When everything is prepped, place all the ingredients into the pot. Peanuts in, pork ribs, lotus roots, dried oysters, dried squid. I'm also adding some red dates for sweetness. Then add water. Okay, that seems to be quite a lot here. I always make soup for 6 to 8 persons. So if you're making for less people, adjust the portions, yeah. Make sure the water level is above all the ingredients. Bring the water to a boil. Then use low heat and simmer for 3.5 to 4 hours. Well, if you want to cook faster, you can use medium heat and it should take about 1.5 to 2 hours. But just remember, you need to check the water level when you use higher heat. Once it's done, the peanut will be mushy like this. The meat will fall off the bone, and the soup will have a deep brownish red hue. Season with some salt and it's ready to drink. It's just so warm, so comforting, and so delicious as well. After drinking it, I just feel like, oh, I just had something so healthy and nutritious. I don't eat the meat or the other ingredients in the soup because I boil it until all the nutrients and all the flavors absorb into the soup itself. My husband tends to eat the meat though because he says that it's such a waste. I hope you try this recipe and I hope you enjoy it. See you next time. For more exclusive and easy recipes, feel free to join my Patreon at patreon.com/RuyiAsianRecipes or my YouTube membership. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.